All
All
right.
right, guys, thank you for joining me. Today I have Brick head coach Mike Berardinelli. Close. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Nick, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go
My,
ahead.
my dog just came back to the door. I'm really
All
sorry.
right.
Come on, come on. Daddy's trying to do something. All right.
All good.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
All good. So, Coach, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Nick.
First, what made you get into coaching, and how long have you been coaching?
Well, this is my 21st year at Brick Township High School. Joined the program. Always wanted to coach. It was kind of a dream of mine when I decided that I wanted to get into teaching. It was an opportunity to get into coaching, and kind of actually stumbled upon the program as I was sitting in the board office waiting to sign papers prior to being hired officially. Posting on the board for the girls JV soccer coach, and put in for it, and didn't get it that season, but was shortly after season started was asked if I'd like to volunteer, and that's where it is. So here we are, is season 21.
Oh wow, and it's funny, but both brick schools, longest tenure coaches probably in the Shore, which is good, and both brick schools have a pretty good history. Going back to even when I was in high school, what are some of the accomplishments you have achieved since you've been head coach at Brick?
I would, just in terms of like titles, 2010, we won the Class B South title that year. I believe we finished 9-0-1. That was the the first year, the 2 years that they dropped us down, when they were trying that little bit of a change, I guess, in how they did things. So we won the B South that year, and kind of ups and downs a little bit after that. But in the last few years, have had a lot of success. In 2018, won the Central Jersey section, and had an opportunity in the Group 3 semis.
Yeah, I always find it hard with schools that have two high schools in the district. Brick, Jackson, kind of spread into town around, the middle towns. Makes it tough for getting one really good team when the talent's being spread around to two schools. But I guess that's what happens when you have such large towns.
Yeah, it's in Brick, it's always the joke that if we were one school, we certainly would be a powerhouse, as which they were prior to Brick Memorial opening, I believe, in '81.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about last season. You guys had a pretty good season. What are some of the accomplishments you had last season? Big victories, player accomplishments.
Last year was a good season. If you ask anybody, we'll say it was a good season, but certainly we're, based on expectations, a little disappointed. 12-5-3 is most teams would say we'll take that every single year, but coming off of the 2018 season, 17 wins, and where we finished up, but things to look at and work on. Tying Tom's River North early last season was anytime you can play them up straight up. The year before, we actually had beaten. It was the first time in, I think it was 10 seasons.
Oh,
so
wow.
they had just had our number, and it kind of went to really putting us on the map that year. So coming back into last season, playing Tom's River North at North, we were actually down 1-0 and tied that up late in the game and had some opportunities. So that was a great game for us. Probably our biggest game, because in the end we kind of faltered a little bit. Unfortunately, a loss to a very good Trinity Hall team there in the Shore Conference tournament. Several people actually said they didn't understand why Trinity Hall was seated as low as they were.
I was one of them. I was very vocal on Twitter about them being a 22 seed.
Yeah.
I got to see them against St. Rose, and they weren't a 22 seed.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen them too, especially because not that we were surprised, but they certainly they certainly took it to us that day, and they earned a victory and really showed everybody, as you said, they were not a 22 seed. So, and then of course the season ended the way it did was tough. As I said to someone after that game against Colts Neck, losing in the PKs, we, ecstasy to agony in 2 seasons. And the crazy thing is the year before 2017, we ended in a PK where we missed at the end. So
it's always tough stakes and sure ended PKs. I hate to see a team go down that way. I want to talk. It looks like you had a pretty healthy senior class this year. Who are your senior leaders and big impact seniors last year?
Last year or this year?
Last season.
Oh, last season. Yeah. Pretty much what was the core of the 2018 team graduated after last year. Tierney Garkowski, who's one of our center backs. Paige Noonan, the other center back. Those were key. Sonia Anderson, who I know I actually listened to your interview with her. I guess it was in the spring or early summer. Sonia was a big impact because she had been a backup for 2 years behind Molly Tully, and I can't remember if she had said it to you, but she wasn't a keeper always.
She did say that.
Yeah. We kind of talked her into it a little bit because she's, such good hands in basketball and such a good athlete and intelligent. She knew last year coming in what her role was, which was you're taking it over and we're going to rely on you quite a bit. And, she's huge. She was huge. She made some big saves for us in some games that really could have changed our season.
Yeah, the only game I got to see of yours was Jackson Memorial, and I thought she was always a goalie until I interviewed her. Because she looked natural out there. She was very good in that game.
Yeah, like I said, we were very lucky with her that she saw an opportunity and a way to help the program, and she waited and never had anything other than I'm going to work hard and I'll be ready when you guys call on me.
Yeah, and like you said, she's very intelligent. It was really fun interviewing her and getting to know her better. Yeah,
I didn't expect anything less from her.
Transitioning into this season, who are some players you think you're expecting to take over those leadership roles from the seniors?
Well, every year coming in, I always look to my senior class in general. You kind of have a few people you look to and say, I think these people can be, these girls can be the leaders. But I'm always looking for anybody because some people, find themselves between junior and senior year or decide that that's the role that they want. Kind of still putting that all together, but we have some solid people that their voice is heard or their work ethic is seen every day, or they've earned the respect of their teammates for how they carry themselves and what they do.
Yeah, one player I want to talk about. Your returning leader scorer, Reese Baggs. Is that Baggs?
Yeah, Reese Baggs.
To me, the one game I did get to see, she was so fun to watch, so impressive, seemed to do a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about her?
Yeah, Reese is a very, very, very good player. She's the only negative thing I really can say about her is that I wish she had played her freshman year. She had made the decision to play in the DA, which that year I actually had her in my honors history class, and I didn't take anything to her, didn't affect her grade. just, I wish she had come out that year, but, she decided, yeah, I want to play high school soccer. I want to play with my friends. And it was a great decision for us. She hit the field running. I think she had 18 goals as a sophomore. Led us that year. Last year again with 13. Unfortunately, she had a little bit of a concussion issue at the end, right towards the end of the season. I held her out a few games. I think she probably would have had a few more. But yeah, Reese is very talented, and she works hard. She works hard at it. Long career, I guess, up to this point of playing soccer and playing at high levels. So yeah, she can do some good things on the ball, and she's one of those players that she's respected by her teammates in what she can do on the field for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, she was, great to watch. Look forward to seeing her on the field this season. Everyone, I think I had her listed on one of my all short teams. So, everyone knows Reese. Who are a couple other players that, might be flying a little bit under the radar?
A couple, yeah. Abby Kennelly, she certainly recently got a little bit of recognition, and she did commit over the summer to Georgian Court.
Oh,
so she will be playing there next year. Abby's a 4-year starter. She was on my radar even in the middle school when I first met her. We knew that she was going to be an impact player for us, and has been. Can play anywhere on the field, but the last couple years we've had her in the offense. She's fast, she's strong, she's aggressive. She gives everything you got, to the point that sometimes I think it gets her in a little bit in trouble in terms of, banging herself up, running through players. But, she's pretty solid. I mean, I think in her 3 seasons, she's up, over 20-some goals. So, she's definitely been one of our most productive players over the year, and we're going to look again for her to do that. A couple other players, Gianna Ferrigni, plays out of the back predominantly, some midfield. She actually committed to Barton College in North Carolina. Again, another player, her work ethic is, over the top. One of those very, very coachable players. So again, looking at her, I could go on. Bella Silva has been a starter the last few years, and we've asked her to play a lot of roles. In the back, in the midfield. She knows when to lock players down. She comes forward. She scored some goals for us last year, getting involved in the offense. So yeah, we got a bunch. I mean, I really could go on. I got a bunch of players for sure, Nick.
One question: Who do you think's replacing Sonia in that? Do you have a front runner right now? I know you still got a week and a half to make the decision.
Actually, myself and my staff we're very, very excited. We have two keepers that are going to be battling out right through the end, and I wouldn't be surprised if they battle throughout the season. One's a sophomore, and the other is a freshman. Cadence Fisher is the sophomore. She more or less was our backup to Sonia, but knowing that Sonia wasn't coming out of the net for any reason, she predominantly had got her minutes on the JV and did well. And Trinity has come on the scene, and yeah, she's going to push. She's going to push for sure. For us, it's one of those good problems, as they say.
Yeah.
We're locked in for a few years here with two young, very good keepers that are going to push each other every year.
How does your freshman class look? To me, last season, after last season, the Shore graduated a lot of talent, and but talking to going through these interviews with everybody, it seems like almost every school I talk to has a strong freshman class, larger than most previous seasons. How's your freshman class look?
Pretty close to that. Numbers are about normal. I wish every year I would be able to get a solid 15 or 16. It doesn't always happen that way, but another nice group of kids. once we started in July there on the 13th with the summer recess practices, they were there every day, which to me is a good sign. They didn't miss. They didn't want to miss. They worked hard. They never said two words other than, yes, coach, and, continue to do that. And, this year with the way things are, we're not going to have a freshman team, but
yeah, it seems like a lot of schools aren't doing that.
Yeah. With everything going on, it's keeping things short, but they're going to get plenty of playing time, plenty of experience. And right now, other than Trinity, she'll be the only freshman seeing any varsity time, at least, at this point.
Talking about, not having a freshman team with all the changes, how did you find dealing with the phases that the state rolled out? How was the athletic department? I noticed a lot of coaches are mentioning trainers. I feel like trainers are being brought into the spotlight with, everything additional they're going to have to do this season with the COVID. How was Brick handle? How was Brick? How did they handle it? Deal with it? Did they make it easier for you as a coach?
Yeah, absolutely. We're lucky, and I'm sure Bill Caruso said the same thing. Our administration, from central administration through our principals and of course our ADs, Pete Panuska, constant communication, with an emphasis on knowing that we've got to do it right, making sure we crossed our T's, dot our I's. But they really made it so that once we got figured out what it was we were supposed to do and how we were supposed to do it, they led us through it, and I was very happy with it. For as much as you can get, with the state dropping guidelines to you and saying, okay, this is the way you're going to do it. It was fairly seamless once we got in, and a little different than what we normally do during the summer. We start fairly early. We do a couple days a week. We go 2 hours. We focus on quite a bit of strength and conditioning type stuff, and let the girls play. This year was a little more, you had a shorter time period, and the emphasis being on let's get them out there and let's get them doing something, because it had been a while. But we were pretty happy. With everything. Like you said, Brick really did it well, and that was beneficial to us.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and it's just funny. Nobody really talks about trainers, but every coach talks. Trainers getting everything ready. Being organized, and hats off to them.
Yeah, no, certainly our trainer always. I'll say our athletic trainer, to this day, is the best in the state, and he has been honored and before. So he's fantastic. Without him, I don't know where we would be in some circumstances, for sure.
Before we start wrapping up, I just want to go through your schedule real quick, because you're in a tough division. Toms River North, Jackson Memorial's, Toms River South's up and coming. They had to me probably the freshman of the year on their team last year.
Absolutely.
Just talk about some of the teams you play. Brick Memorial. I know they're rebuilding, but it's always a cross-town rivalry.
Yeah, well, again, circumstances this year, we changed the schedule. 14 games we're going against. It's the old A South grind. Yeah. Which I'm sure BC said as well. It was nice getting away from 7 of those games and being able to get a little more out of conference and see some different teams and different styles. A South's a grind, and absolutely what you said. You got your perennial Toms River North games, Jackson, and other teams that have progressively gotten better over the last few years. Southern is going to be much tougher. Which we always seem to have a good game with them no matter what. Central's improving for sure. Toms River East, Toms River South. They got Abby Alexa there, and you got to stop her. If you can stop her, then you got a chance. And of course, Memorial. They're going to be much improved. I know that he's got some good young horses over there coming in. And, anytime we play them, it doesn't matter who's really, it's a battle. It's a battle. The last few years we've had the upper hand, which is nice, but nothing's ever come easy. It's 1-0. It's 3-2. It's, nobody's beating anybody's, 6-7-0. So, it's for sure that crosstown rival.
Yeah. Do you think it's a advantage or disadvantage playing the same, basically playing the same team back to back, Yeah, strategy wise, not, I understand why they did it, makes sense, but, strategy wise.
Strategy wise, I don't know if it'll help us playing such short, back to back. For anybody, if the strategy works, you can make the adjustments pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think on a mental aspect, if you have a tough game, to be able to turn around and get right back at it, that'll come down to really the experience of the team, and of course, the coaches being able to rally right back off of that. For me, I look at it as the biggest thing this year is it is a quick turnaround with those games. So, being healthy, being healthy coming. I mean, and normally during the season, there's points where you're playing back. Seems almost like back to back to back, but here it's quick. So, we're going to have to really be on our game of making sure we're healthy and we're rested and, can carry into those games. But it'll be interesting to see it play out this way.
It's you said, the mental, you can make the game changes, but the mental, and Coach Caruso basically said the same thing. He goes making the little tweaks is the easy part, but how do you motivate a team? Say you just won 6-7-0, and then you got to play the same team 2 days later, or if you just lose, how do you get your team mentally? Hey, don't take this team for granted. It's a different day, or throw that game out. We just got killed, but that seems to be the tough part.
Absolutely. I guess short memory or long memory, all the same, because you just, remember what you did the other day because you beat them 4-0, and the other way is, hey, it's over, move on.
Yeah. I'm looking at your schedule. You guys are playing Friday, Saturday back to back? Is that right?
Oh no, that actually was changed when we saw that. I actually asked our athletic director if he could call and see if we could move that. Being it was opening weekend, going Friday afternoon.
It was half the divisions were Friday, Saturday, the other half were Thursday, Saturday.
Right. Yeah. So when I saw that, I said, I don't. There's we're playing Toms River South, let alone turn around and play the next day, the next morning, and they bumped it a little bit to 2:00 because there was SATs as of right now. But fortunately, Toms River South, I think, was with it and said we'll go Thursday night.
Okay, so, good.
So we are going to open up Thursday night and have that day in between.
Right before we wrap up, just what are some goals? It's different this year. Who knows what the postseason may look like? But what are some goals you're setting for your team this season?
They'll be the same as almost any year, to really just play our game of soccer. Good soccer and compete. A South is always there. We haven't done it since I've been there. And I, of course, we talk about it. You win that, you're going to earn it for sure. And we were right there 2 years ago and last year for a little bit. But again, it's always a goal. And then I don't want to make it that winning's the only thing, but of course we want to win as many games as possible to put ourselves in a good position going into that state tournament, sectional playoff. They did release the groupings kind of in a sense today. So, nothing's going to be easy. So you want to put yourself in a good seed position. I know they're changing it up. It's not going to be solely off of PowerPoint. So strength of schedule, that certainly should help us playing a lot of, Group 4 schools and top Group 4 schools.
Just real quick, we talk strength of schedule. I know on the basketball aspect, the better teams, the Manasquans, RBCs, they like to schedule a really rough regular season. Mm-hmm. Being in your division, you have probably, I would go on to say probably the toughest division, because even the lower teams are tough teams. They're not like the lower teams in some of the other.
Yeah.
Do you think that helps, on a normal year, taking you into the Shore Conference and state playing a tough regular season, schedule?
Yeah, I think the level of competition is, you got to bring your game every day, and if you don't, it's not going to work well for you. It's not going to turn out well. On the negative side, it's the grind. It's the grind, which, if you don't have an experienced team, you don't have a team that's healthy, you can struggle. But if you can get all those things to work together, it's a huge benefit going into that postseason. I've seen it. 2009 season for us, we went through the slaughter in A South, and we were, I think, 5-8 or 5-9 when we came out of it, and then made a run all the way to the semis that year in the sections. And I think we were an 11 seed, and people were surprised because we knocked off the 6, we knocked off the 3, but it was really based on the fact that the team was battle tested. They saw the toughest, the Norths, the Jacksons, the Memorials, everybody. So it certainly does help.
Yeah, and when I talked to the RBC coach, Coach Lawrence, Shore Conference, it's the toughest division. If you could get through the Shore, similar to Bay, he said in his interview, he was winning the Shore is almost better than winning a state, because the competition. And on the girls basketball side, it's the same thing. The teams, their goal sets the Shore Conference tournament, because you're playing the best teams, and it's fun to see how much talent comes out of our area, both Monmouth and Ocean County.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Outside of soccer, I coached wrestling for, this will be 21, and baseball for
a good wrestling history too.
Yeah. We've had quite a bit of success ourselves. As I've been there. In baseball too, I was part of the program for a long time, and we always say the same thing: you can win the Shore Conference. That's a feather that's put in the cap there, and you feel like you can take on anybody in the state.
Yeah. Sure. Coach, thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing your team, and I'll say hello when I'm at one of your games.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and certainly, come say hello, and be nice to meet you in person. Yeah,
it's tough. Somebody like me, it's tough trying to map out this, schedule this year, because everyone's, almost playing on, the same days.
Yeah.
If there's a couple good matchups, you gotta pick.
Gonna have to pick those, the matchup of the week or whatever, and we'll plan them out for sure. We can get your map going.
Yeah, the only bright spot, if there's 2 good matchups, I catch one day, and then the next, the home and away kind of helps that way. But
yeah, if it's a heck of a game, you go, better get to that second one. Hopefully it turns out that way.
yeah, and it's all, you've been coaching a while. It's, what form your team's going to be in that particular day. You can be firing all on cylinders one day and then just come out flat the next day.
Been there, done that, Nick. Been there, done that.
All right, Coach. Thank you for joining me, and good luck this season.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.